You are here today because you were destined to hear something that did not arrive by accident. There are powerful moments in life when the heart slows its pace and quietly becomes filled with uncertainty. Even though deep within you, in that silent place where your genuine truth resides, you have already sensed the real answer. This is precisely one of those rare and meaningful moments. What you are about to receive is not just simple information or hollow words. It is a direct and deeply powerful energetic response to what you have been gently asking the universe for many days, perhaps even weeks, in the quiet corners of your mind. Today, you will come into contact with the exact point where your deepest inner feeling finally meets the reality you have been waiting for such a very long time. I know you have felt a special connection that reaches far beyond ordinary logic and simple explanation. If you want the complete truth about this person's genuine feelings for you, hit like right now. You have sensed a powerful magnetic pull and a profound bond with a certain person that simply cannot be described in everyday words. Sometimes, in your most vulnerable moments, you convinced yourself that all of this was merely a passing illusion, a desperate wish rising from your heart, or a dream created to escape the feeling of being alone. But today, I want to tell you one deeply important thing with total certainty and absolutely no doubt. This love you have felt, this electric current moving through your entire body when you think of this person, and this strange sense of having known them forever, is not imagination, not coincidence, and certainly not a story you are inventing for yourself. There are clear, profound, and steady signs that have appeared in your life, pointing toward a truth you may not have dared to fully accept out of fear of being hurt. And today, you will finally come to understand why this person truly and deeply loves you, even if their current behavior might appear quite different. Your doubts will gradually begin to dissolve when you face the undeniable truth living inside your very own soul. It does not matter if you have recently carried a strange heaviness in your chest, or if this person has grown quieter, colder, or more withdrawn. I want you to fully understand that this silence carries an important part of the larger message. Even if it feels painful and confusing at this very moment, when the universe confirms a connection between two souls, it does so in a way your inner being senses long before your mind is even capable of grasping it. That is precisely why you are still present here right now, because you needed a confirmation that does not come from empty human words, but from something vibrating at the very same frequency as your spirit. Sometimes we try so desperately to explain feelings that were never intended to be solved by the thinking mind, but only to be experienced at a higher and deeper level of pure awareness. What you are feeling right now is not madness, not anxiety, and not an unhealthy attachment as you sometimes quietly fear. What you are moving through is the exact and necessary process required for someone who is meant to experience a love that rises far above the ordinary and familiar kind. A love that completely breaks the limits of simple, surface-level connections. You are now witnessing the very beginning of a deep recognition between two souls that chose one another long before this physical world, long before you even became aware of this current life. There is something the universe wants you to carry into your heart today. Your doubts are not born from a lack of love coming from this person. They come from your own old and deeply buried wounds that were never fully or completely healed. When someone carrying genuine and true love enters your life with an energy that shakes your very foundation and with eyes that seem to see directly into your soul without even making physical contact, old pain begins to stir inside you. Your inner defenses respond automatically to what feels unfamiliar and entirely new. The soul recognizes the other in an instant, and it feels like finally encountering its own mirror. Someone absolutely essential for its continued growth. Yet the mind, trained over the years to avoid pain and carefully protect itself, begins to construct walls built from doubt and denial. That is the very reason you have so often lain awake in the dark hours of night, asking yourself whether this love is truly real, whether the other person carries the same feelings, or whether you are slowly losing your sense of reality by believing in something you cannot fully hold or see. Comment 111 if you have been feeling a profound soul connection with someone lately and still, the very same pattern repeats itself again and again. Whenever you attempt to pull away, when you decide to close your heart completely, block out the feeling and put everything behind you, something invisible, gentle, but undeniably strong quietly pulls you right back. This force that continues to prevent you from leaving entirely is not wounded pride, not emotional dependency, and not stubborn and misguided hope. It is the shared vibration of two souls that the universe has silently and carefully aligned without asking permission, without the need for logic, and completely without words. You have often quietly asked for a clear and unmistakable sign, stared up at the open sky, or gently closed your eyes, hoping deeply for confirmation. And even though many signs have appeared along the way, they always seemed far too subtle to trust with complete confidence. But today, you will begin to truly see that every small and seemingly insignificant detail carries enormous weight and meaning. That glance that was quickly turned away only when it became too revealing and too honest. That message which seemed completely casual on the surface but carried a far deeper meaning underneath. And the way your entire energy shifts the moment this person is near, or even when you simply allow yourself to think about them. True love that is born from a genuine spiritual connection does not always reveal itself first through grand words or dramatic and sweeping gestures. Often, especially in its earliest stages, it speaks through deep and intentional silence. A silence that feels heavier and more meaningful than simply saying the words, "I love you." It reveals itself through small and awkward actions that appear minor on the outside, but conceal a powerful and devoted inner feeling that has not yet discovered its true voice. Type yes if you want me to reveal the undeniable signs that this love is completely and absolutely real. Today, life itself wants you to understand that this person is not uncertain about their feelings toward you. The one who has truly been uncertain is you. Not because you carry any weakness, but because this love entered your life at a time when you were still in the process of learning to stand on steady ground, and its sheer intensity frightened you deeply. When someone carrying the energy of real and authentic love enters your world, they do not shake you in order to cause harm, but to awaken you, to begin healing you, to turn your awareness inward, and to make you genuinely question your old and limiting beliefs about love and deep human connection. This inner transformation can feel exactly like pure and overwhelming fear in the beginning, but you must clearly understand that this fear is not born from the absence of love, but from the tremendous and powerful force of what is now entering your life and reshaping it from the inside. This person looks at you even from across a great distance with a gentleness they cannot entirely conceal, with a respect that rises naturally and without effort, and with a softness that exists only when the heart has already made its quiet and certain choice in silence. I know that at some point, perhaps even very recently, you truly believed this person was leaving for good, that their prolonged silence meant they no longer carried any feelings for you, and that their growing distance was solid proof that whatever had existed was slowly fading away forever. But the universe did not carefully guide you to this exact moment simply to hand you yet another incomplete story or another painful wound to carry. When a connection is truly guided by a higher and unseen force, it does not shatter because of human confusion or moments of temporary silence and withdrawal. What is genuinely meant to be holds on with quiet strength even through the most difficult mental storms, even through messages left completely unanswered, and even during those moments when you begin to question and doubt absolutely everything as a human being. So why do you feel such overwhelming chaos inside if this connection is truly and completely real? Because real and transformative love does not arrive to keep you exactly as you are. It comes to reshape you, to expand you, and to lift you into a version of yourself you have not yet fully met. The turbulence you feel is not a sign that something is wrong or broken. It is evidence that something profoundly significant is happening beneath the surface of your everyday life, something that reaches deeper than anything you have previously allowed yourself to experience or believe in. The person you think about carries something for you that words in any language have never been fully equipped to capture or explain. And deep within yourself, in that quiet and unshakable place, beneath all the noise and worry and sleepless nights, you already know this to be true with every part of your being. Today is the day you finally give yourself permission to believe it completely. It arrives to transform you completely, to strip away the illusions you have held on to teach you the deep virtues of patience, trust, and faith in what cannot yet be seen with your eyes. This chaos surrounding you is a sign of genuine growth, a sign that something old and outdated inside you is breaking apart, so something real and true can finally rise from within. And one day, when the silence comes to an end and the distance between you begins to fade, you will look back with clear eyes and understand that every single moment of doubt was quietly shaping and preparing you for the depth of love you were always destined to receive in this lifetime. The answer does not exist somewhere outside of you, but rather it lives within the quiet and painful struggle now unfolding between your logic and your deepest, most authentic self. If you are truly ready to receive this understanding, then listen carefully with a completely open heart and let the words settle into you without resistance. The reason you feel so deeply confused, even while your soul seems to already hold the truth, leads back to the oldest and most familiar inner conflict of all. It is the endless and exhausting tension between the limited and fearful thinking of the ego and the vast, boundless wisdom of your true and higher self. This confusion and this inner chaos that sometimes makes you feel as though you are imagining everything around you comes directly from your mind, encountering something it cannot fully control or explain away. And yet, despite all the doubt and despite all the relentless questions that flood your thoughts, something within you continues to recognize, continues to feel deeply, and continues to return to the very same truth again and again without fail. It is something that simply does not fit into the old and narrow ideas about love you have been carrying within you for so very long. Your ego is the part of you that was shaped entirely by fear, by past pain, and by the need for self-protection from further hurt. It follows one simple and unwavering rule, which is to keep you safe and shielded from any possible danger. The moment this connection entered your life, your ego saw it as a serious and immediate threat. Why did it react this way? Because real love, the kind that comes straight from the soul and not from the mind, asks you to open completely and without reservation, to be emotionally exposed and vulnerable, and to surrender fully without hiding behind walls of expectations and conditions. And your ego, still deeply marked by old scars that never fully healed, begins to shout loudly at you to be careful, to protect yourself, because this feels too good and surely it will end in great pain. So run now, or build your defenses first before it is too late. From this very moment forward, you must begin to learn and truly practice the art of recognizing the difference between these two very different voices inside you. There is the loud and anxious noise of the ego, and then there is the soft, steady and reassuring whisper of your intuition. The doubts that your ego generates always feel urgent, hollow, and completely saturated with fear and anxiety. They show up physically as tightness in your stomach, as the compulsive need to check your phone again and again and again, searching endlessly for some form of proof so that you can finally feel a moment of security. The ego tells you that if they do not call you right at this moment, it surely means they do not care about you at all. Or if they do not say precisely the words you are desperately hoping to hear, then they must be slowly pulling themselves away from you. It carries with it a heavy and thoroughly exhausting energy that drains you completely over time and leaves you feeling empty and lost. The voice of your intuition and the deep wisdom of your soul operates in the complete opposite way. It feels like a profound and settling calm, like a quiet and unshakable knowing that remains steadfast even when doubts appear and attempt to overwhelm you. Even when your restless mind tells you repeatedly that this person is gone forever, there remains a peaceful and steady truth resting in your chest, gently whispering to you that everything is unfolding exactly as it is meant to, and that you must trust the process completely. This calm that exists beneath the storm is the clearest and most undeniable proof available to you that what you feel is genuinely real and perfectly aligned with your highest path forward. When you truly begin to feel this peace moving through you, you will understand without question that you are not fooling yourself and that you are touching something profoundly and undeniably true. This inner conflict is precisely what has caused you to question again and again whether the connection itself is even real or whether you have been creating it all in your imagination. Look honestly at your emotional past, because if you were once deeply betrayed or painfully abandoned by someone you trusted completely, your ego will take that old, unresolved pain and project it directly onto your present experience. It believes firmly that even this person, no matter how pure and beautiful the bond between you feels, will inevitably hurt you in exactly the same way as those who came before. And so you are not truly doubting their love for you. What you are actually doubting is your own ability to hold a love this deep and this expansive without eventually breaking apart beneath its weight. And that realization is exactly the lesson that your soul has been waiting for you to finally learn and integrate. The universe has deliberately placed you before this person and this overwhelming pull between you so that you can face your deepest and most hidden fears head-on without flinching. What you feel is not only here to bring you love and companionship, but it has come with a higher purpose, which is to push you far beyond your comfort zone, to shake your existing limits to their very foundations, and to make you seriously question everything you once believed about love itself and about your own inherent worth and value. This love is here to lift you to a higher and more expanded awareness where you no longer settle for or beg for small and insufficient pieces of affection, but instead naturally and confidently accept the fullness and abundance that your soul has always deserved and always known was possible. Each and every time your ego attempts to sabotage the bond that exists between you, it is simultaneously offering you a precious and rare chance to heal an old and deeply buried wound. When fear and doubt begin to rise up within you, it does not in any way mean that love is fading or disappearing. What it means is that an old and long-suppressed pain is resurfacing so that it can finally and completely be released from your energy field. If you panic in response to this, you feed it more power and more strength. But if instead you remain calm and choose to recognize what is happening as simply old fear coming up to be seen, you immediately take away its power over your life. Your connection functions like an intensely bright and clarifying light, steadily clearing your energy field and preparing you in every way to receive so much more than you ever allowed yourself to believe was possible. And remember this clearly because it matters deeply. No matter how hard you try to walk away from what you feel, and no matter how many times you force yourself to let go of this connection, something deep and unrelenting inside you always, without exception, pulls you back toward it. This force that keeps drawing you back is not a chain designed to trap you or to cause you suffering, but rather it is the shared vibration of two souls who were genuinely meant to cross paths and to meet in this particular lifetime. It is so extraordinarily powerful that even when you attempt to block it entirely with logic or fight against it with the full force of your ego, it remains present and immovable like an invisible magnet, quietly and persistently reminding you of something that feels like home. But the central question still remains unanswered and continues to sit heavy in your heart. If both souls know so clearly, and if the bond between them is this strong and undeniable, why does the other person appear so quiet, so distant, or so seemingly unaffected? The answer lies hidden within the deep and complex energy that forms naturally when two intensely powerful souls come together and collide. You must truly understand that this person is not merely a romantic partner in the ordinary sense, but they are in fact your most powerful and revealing mirror. Their arrival in your life awakened everything within you that still carries the weight of needing to be healed. Just as you were profoundly shaken to your core by this connection, so too were they shaken in ways they may not yet fully understand themselves. This bond is so extraordinarily deep and so remarkably pure that it reaches directly into and touches the most tender and sensitive parts of your unhealed wounds from the past. For the human mind that constantly seeks control over its environment and its emotions, this level of intensity and vulnerability feels genuinely frightening. And so the distance you sense and feel between you is not rejection of you as a person, but rather it is self-protection from the overwhelming and powerful emotions that your very presence stirs and awakens within their heart. Within this particular dynamic, people often speak of the runner and the chaser. The runner, often the one you find yourself loving so deeply, is not running away from you as a person, but rather from themselves and from the overwhelming depth of the love they feel rising within them. They pull back and create distance because what they feel is so intensely powerful that it fills them with a flood of fear, including the fear of not being enough for something this significant, the fear of damaging something that feels so precious and irreplaceable, and the deep fear of surrendering control or losing their sense of identity entirely within the connection. It is the profound fear of complete and total surrender, a fear that was shaped and hardened over years by old wounds of being left behind or painfully rejected. Wounds that once caused them to make a silent and deeply personal promise to themselves that they would never again fall helplessly into a love that had the power to break them open completely. That is precisely why the silence between you is not a sign of absent care or fading feeling, but rather it is a pause, a deeply necessary need to gather and organize the internal storm that your presence has stirred up within them. Your role in this dynamic is often that of the chaser, and sometimes this chasing happens only on the level of energy rather than direct action. When you feel the distance growing between you, your ego immediately panics and you feel an overwhelming urge to reach out, to explain yourself, to attempt to fix everything and to prove your value. But this pattern of running and chasing moves endlessly in cycles and only serves to make the distance feel larger and more permanent, as though some invisible and opposing force is actively pulling you further and further apart. The more intensely you chase, the more the other person feels the internal pressure and need to continue running away. It is here that one of the most powerful and also most difficult spiritual laws of the universe appears clearly before you, which is the law of letting go in order to draw genuinely closer. The universe does not desire for you to suffer endlessly while you wait for something to shift. Instead, it wants and invites you to use this waiting time wisely, to return fully to yourself, and to commit to healing everything within you that still aches. The runner can only truly find their way back to you when they feel with absolute certainty that you do not need them in order to feel whole, complete, and at peace within yourself.